Tanya and Terrell, this is something we haven't seen in days. The University of Chicago's quad clear of any encampment, but that's what happened here this morning. Campus police came in and dismantled the encampment set up by students shortly before 5 o'clock this morning.
To prevent further violations of state laws and university policy.
The raid was swift. Officers dressed in riot gear piled into the Palestinian encampment in the early hours of the morning.
You are instructed to immediately disperse.
Crews came in with trucks and removed the dozens of tents and cardboard signs that have decorated the U of C quad for 9 days now. The student protesters who were staying there removed by campus police and ushered outside the quad while crews worked. Tensions rose at times as protesters came face to face with police, officers physically pushing students further back with yellow barriers, and students ripped up a final notice warning given by campus police saying they'd be placed on an immediate leave of absence if they did not leave. Then, around 8 a.m., students were allowed back into the quad after the removal process was complete.
I think it's terrible. I think it's disgusting that we have militarized police in an educational space to break up a peaceful protest rather than resolving it through negotiations, which were going well until the university decided to tank them itself purposely.
The University of Chicago president says safety concerns have mounted over the last few days and risks were increasing too rapidly, saying, quote, the protesters were given an opportunity to disassemble their structures and depart the encampment, and there have been no arrests. Where appropriate, disciplinary action will proceed. Meanwhile, some faculty members supporting the student protest tell me they're disgraced by the police interference this morning.
To wait until the students are asleep, to wait when there are so few people here. Many people feel really traumatized and terrified. I had multiple students come up to me in tears, just completely shaken by what happened here tonight.
So what's next? Organizers tell me their message remains the same. It will just take on different forms now. I should also mention the mayor's office tells us they expressed serious concerns to the university about their plans to remove the students, adding that the university requested help from the Chicago Police Department, but CPD was unwilling to participate. And as we saw this morning, the university went ahead with those plans. Tanya, Terrell, back to you.
Stephanie Wade on campus this morning. Stephanie, thank you. And we're also hearing what students think about the clearing of that encampment.
Jessica D'Onofrio continues our coverage from campus where there are passionate opinions on both sides of the aisle. Jess.
Yeah, this is really the other side of the aisle. Tanya, Terrell, some students here telling me it's about time that the university stepped in. One Jewish group here on campus says they felt threatened. Now, over the course of the encampment at U of C, there have been counter protests popping up. This morning, Joshua Weisskopf, who is the president of Maroons for Israel, tells me many student counter protesters were subject to hate speech at the encampment.
There was a man there with a pit bull. Was clearly part of the encampment, hanging out with that crowd, and he remarks to his dog, I think he smells some rats, and stuff like that. And other students have experienced anti-Semitism from people in the encampment. They've been harassed, and so it's generally created an environment that's not positive and derogatory towards Jewish students.
There were other students who also wanted to see the encampment come to an end. Perry Zhao is a U of C student who co-wrote a petition posted on change.org to have the encampment removed. It addressed the president of the university. The petition had over 2,500 signatures.
I was happy that it ultimately happened. I wish it would have happened earlier. That's why a bunch of friends and I started to write this petition, because we realized that the longer the university held out, they would further enable these protesters to gather in larger numbers. And I don't want a second graduation canceled. I had my graduation from high school in 2020 canceled by COVID, and I wasn't going to passively stand by to watch a second one leave.
Back here live, as you can see, the quad is quiet. Many now asking, what is the path forward? Maroons for Israel say they are planning to have a peaceful dialogue tonight at 5:30 at Bartlett Dining Hall. The invitation open to all.